Welcome to Spurs Focus, your go-to spot for daily Tottenham news, transfers, and match updates. Don't forget to support the channel by hitting that subscribe button now. Let's dive into today's top story. Pep Guardiola has revealed Savinho is close to signing a new contract at Manchester City after a summer where he was heavily linked with a move to Tottenham. Savinho was the subject of strong interest from Tottenham last month, but talk of a £69 million move to North London ultimately came to nothing, and the 21-year-old is now expected to sign a new deal, committing himself to City until 2031. "We were so clear that we want to keep him," Guardiola said after Savinho started in Saturday's 5-1 win over Burnley, days after getting his first goal of the season in the Carabao Cup win over Huddersfield. "It depends on the offer." From Tottenham, maybe the offer was not good enough for the club, I don't know, but of course at his age, last season he played a lot of minutes. He can play on both sides, right and left, has pace that is unbelievable. So in that term, he's really good. Savinho is in line to follow a number of Guardiola's squad in signing fresh terms. Nico O'Reilly was the latest player to sign a new contract on Friday, coming after new deals for Ruben Dias and Rico Lewis in recent weeks. It's happened with Rico, Nico, Savinho is close, and in the past, Ruben has done it as well, Guardiola said. So we'll try to be sure to show a player that we want him. Do the effort that we need to stay a bit longer. So I'm really pleased. Nico is growing a lot. I think since he started to play, we lost just one game, the final FA Cup against Palace. When he's not been involved, it was defeats all the time. So Nico helped us a lot, improved a lot in his aggressivity and set pieces, and with the ball. We're really pleased that Tottenham grabbed a 1-1 draw in the dying seconds of their match against Wolves on Saturday evening in the Premier League. And here are our Spurs player ratings. Spurs were looking to follow up victories against West Ham, Villarreal and Doncaster Rovers, and that comeback draw at Brighton with another positive display against the Premier League's bottom side. A victory against Vitor Pereira's men would have meant second place in the table and just 2 points behind Liverpool after 6 matches. Tottenham struck the crossbar 15 minutes in when Mohamed Kudus's header from Xavi Simon's cross was tipped onto the woodwork by Wolves goalkeeper Sam Johnstone. Spurs created plenty of opportunities in the first half to take the lead, but it was the visitors who took the lead in the 54th minute. Guglielmo Vicario saved a Ladislav Krejci header from a corner, but the ball struck Joao Palhinha and bounced back to Santiago Bueno to poke home. It looked like Dr. Tottenham had ended Wolves' run of defeats only for Palhinha to curl home a last gasp leveller. Good play from substitute Mathys Tel on the left saw him curl the ball into the box, where Pape Matar Sarr knocked it back to the Portuguese to fire home a beauty. Here are our Spurs player ratings. Guglielmo Vicario. Unfortunate to see his save from Krejci hit Palhinha and bounce back to Bueno to score. Made a couple of saves otherwise. 6 Jed Spence on the right and just didn't really find his rhythm there. His delivery wasn't great. 6 Christian Romero battled away to the end, putting his body on the line with some last gasp challenges. 7 Van der Ven made an excellent early sliding tackle and mopped up a lot at the back as Wolves had very few chances. 7 Destiny Udogie made a great interception and break that should have resulted in a better shot from Bergvall. Midway through the first half, got into some great areas but didn't find the right ball at the right time. His second half did not match a bright first half at all though. 6 Lucas Bergvall was Spurs' best player in the first half but fluffed a volley inside the Wolves box 22 minutes in. Would have had a great assist with a back heel for the offside Kudus in the first half. Sent an acrobatic effort over the bar before the break. Struggled with the rest of the team in the second half, but still came out of the game with more credit than most. 7 Joao Palhinha had a penalty shout in the first half and was unfortunate to see Vicario's save hit him and bounce to Bueno to score. Popped up though with his 3rd goal of the season to level matters, and it was a curling beauty of a finish. 8 Rodrigo Bentancur. A busy game without particularly impressing, other than covering for Romero's forays forward on a couple of occasions. 5 Mohamed Kudus saw a header tipped onto the crossbar 15 minutes in when he probably should have scored. Had a lovely curling effort ruled out for offside. A performance with threat rather than end product. 6 Richarlison offered pretty much nothing up front. although he would say he barely got any service. 4. Xavi Simons started shakily, but whipped in a good cross that resulted in a Kudus header tipped onto the woodwork. Had little moments but never really got going, even when he moved into the middle in the second half. 4. Subs Brennan Johnson. Tried to up the tempo but didn't offer too much down the right in his time on the pitch. 5. Pedro Porro. Same as Johnson, he didn't particularly add anything more than what had already been there on the right. 5. Pape Matar. Sarr back in the squad, and picked up a crucial late assist in teeing up the ball for Palhinha. 6. Wilson. Odobe plenty of running into players rather than doing anything with the ball with his late cameo. N/A Mathys Tel. In contrast, he made the difference with his cut inside and low cross that found Sarr. N.A. Tottenham's home struggles continued as Wolves snatched a shock lead, before Joao Palhinha's late strike rescued a point in a frustrating night for Spurs. Dr. Tottenham saw Wolves on Saturday, only he whipped away most of their medicine at the last moment. Death, taxes and Tottenham generously ending a visiting team's winless streak are among the only certainties in life. If you are a manager in the Spurs dugout, regardless of whether it's the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Wembley or White Hart Lane, there will have been an instance or 2 or 3 or more when your Lilywhites side lost a match that on paper should never have happened against a team in dire straits. Spurs are a footballing paradox. In European competition, they have not lost in 21 matches at home, winning 17 of those. Yet in the Premier League, Tottenham have triumphed in just 3 of their past 17 matches in their own backyard. That's an abysmal record at a huge 62,850-seater stadium that was built to be a fortress, not a place filled with groans, moans and boos. On Saturday night, 60,537 fans filed into the huge arena on Tottenham High Road, and they got 2 different halves of football for their money. The first period at least brought some creativity and chances with Mohamed Kudus, seeing an early header touched onto the crossbar with Sam Johnstone. It was the 7th time the Ghana international has hit the woodwork since the start of last season, more than any other player in the Premier League. Lucas Bergvall fluffed a good chance in the box after a great break by Destiny Udogie. Then the Swede combined with Kudus with a back flick for the winger to curl a shot home, but from an offside position. Bergvall was again involved with an acrobatic effort over the crossbar before Kudus forced Johnstone into a flying save. With the last kick of the first half former Spurs, full-back Matt Doherty sent a volley against the top of the crossbar that should have been a warning that was heeded. Of course it wasn't. 9 minutes after the break, the visitors caught Spurs with a sucker punch. Guglielmo Vicario reacted well to save a Ladislav Krejci header from a corner, but could only push it against Joao Palhinha, and the ball bounced back to Santiago Bueno to poke home. The remainder of the second half until the 94th minute was awful from Tottenham. They wasted possession constantly, even though Thomas Frank was yelling at them at various points from the side of the pitch to be patient and not rush their passes. They did not listen to the Spurs head coach, but when the crowd shouted, "Shoot!" in unison, they heard that. Cue a string of dreadful efforts from distance that were of more danger to those at the top of the south stand than Johnstone in the Wolves goal. Just as Frank was at his most frustrated, so 2 of his 5 changes suddenly worked. His other substitutions hadn't. Brennan Johnson and Pedro Porro offered little to nothing extra on the right flank than those they replaced, and on the other side, Wilson Odobert was as much use as a dunked rich tea biscuit. Yet Mathys Tel and Pape Matar Sarr were there for Frank's SOS. Save our substitutions. Tel deftly flicked the ball past a defender on the left in added time and drove inside before curling a low cross that Sarr touched back into the path of Palhinha. The Portuguese didn't miss a beat in hitting a sweet curling strike into the bottom right corner of the net. The summer signing went mad, whipping off his shirts and running to the corner of the east stand where it meets the south, roaring at them all. It was his 3rd goal in 6 starts in all competitions since the Premier League season began. Not bad for a defensive midfielder. In his euphoria, he forgot that Spurs actually wanted to win the game. Johnson had run and grabbed the ball out of the net, and he screamed across to Palhinha to get his shirt back on so they could run back and try to find a winner. That did not come as Spurs returned to looking disjointed again in the 3-4-3 formation they ended the game in. It was yet another far from impressive Premier League performance at home. The Burnley game aside, it's a positive, certainly, that Tottenham are coming back to grab points in matches they have not played well in, but it's also an indicator that Frank's side is still very much in the making. Yeah, you can say that. I think that is probably fair. The Dane said of that suggestion, I think the first half was good. I was happy with that in many ways. I felt we were on top, created 2 or 3 very good chances, and got into a lot of dangerous situations where we didn't create a chance where we should have created more.